Y'all ready to anarchy and chill? We are back at it. We are exhausted. We're not falling for the propaganda. We're not talking about that crap. We're just going to chop it up and get to know each other a little bit better. Let's get it. Aquarian Anarchy, right back at you again. Peace. There ain't no quote this week. I'm just going to show you this, and I'm going to tell you, watch out for what's in the water. You never know.
Yeah.
Anyway, how's everybody doing? How's everybody doing, family? Oh, I think we both hit it at the same time again.
We got it. I'm good, man. Tired.
Crazy couple of weeks. I hear Nicco's
fucking tastic.
Nicco's having some stuff to go through. We all got our shit to go through.
No, I ain't going through nothing. Nothing but a test and a trial that God has put me through to see you got your balls still, or you just got to snip. Like that's it. That's all. You know, and you just got to come correct when situations like this happen. So the best way to shit on something is AKA with the smile and a good old good cup of glass of success.
There you go.
I agree.
So when's the success coming? Let's. What's the plan? What's the plan for success here?
All right. Well, to give context to everybody, I work at a night shift bar, if you will, and I was basically doing all the work for the past 2 days, and I'm like, we're very short-staffed to a degree, and I felt like I was doing most of the work, and like. The other guys were just lollygagging. So Saturday I came into work and I started picking up and doing all the work again. And I'm like, oh, I'm not about to do this. I have a migraine. It's a lot of music, a lot of people around me. I can't deal with this shit right now. I asked my manager to go. He was like, sure. And I was like, all right, cool. I left. And then Sunday, which was yesterday, I looked on my schedule to see if I was scheduled. I was completely removed from the scheduling app. And so I was like, well, this is odd. So I tried signing back in, and they're like, oh, you have no employer under this name. Oh, that's cute. So did you guys, like, quietly fire me? Like, how does this work? I've been procrastinating on my tarot business because I didn't want to fuck with TikTok at all. And I just created 4 quick little videos and I actually kind of have fun with them. But I'm kind of irritated it took me this long. ChatGPT is going to help me identify which state I need to file my LLC in. You know, other LLCs in different states give you different benefits and things like that.
Delaware is a good place.
Yeah, Delaware, Nevada, and a couple of other spots, depending on what you want set. And I'm not giving legal advice or financial advice, you know, so don't take this shit from me yet. I'm gonna get on my pony, which I should have been on. And they just gave me the reason on why I decided to try in this entrepreneurial spirit in the first place. Like, why the fuck would I allow somebody to dictate my emotions and my bag if I know I can produce my own bag? So that's one of them. And then just fully pushing. And then I got some other side odd jobs that I can do and keep me afloat. So yeah, that's the goal. That's the motive. And it's the prime time, baby.
Nice. Well, hopefully you can get all of that put together and start bringing some money in and get, and I respect the trying to do it independently and not have to, you know, get it from the system at all.
Pause real quick. Can I notice? What the fuck is with this background? Do we get the fiery shit? Wait.
Chad made that today.
I've been very that is sexy as fuck. That's how I feel right now. Ooh, Chad. See, I knew something was wrong. Yeah, no,
I don't know where Chad went.
That's sexy. And it's a 5-day. And
you check this out too. Check this out too. Let me remove the
on bippity bob.
When there's just we had that, but Chad, what happened to you, man?
I heard that's sexy, and then I just had to tap out. Like I don't play that.
He's like, pause.
No, my
Grown
computer's
man
doing
can't
this
say the
thing where
word
like it waits
sexy.
until we start the show, and then it's like, nah, bitch. And so I have to like refresh the browser, and then it comes back and it's perfect. But like, I don't know. And I reset my router this morning. Like, I don't get it. It looks like I'm still kind of delayed. I don't know. We're just gonna rock with it and roll with it. So, Marcus,
sure.
how you been, man?
Tired. Doing too goddamn much. This time of year is a big deal for us because we're freaks. And
bring in rum.
Oh, yes, rum is a good
bring
thing.
in barbecue. It's the Haitian rum that I said I'd open up when I had something to celebrate.
Nice.
So,
well,
wait, which one is it?
What?
Which rum?
Oh, it's a barbecue. It's a Haitian rum.
Okay.
And
nice.
My dad brought it over, and it's already aged like 8 years or 4 years prior to.
Oh, wow.
So I'm bringing that for the you dig. Absolutely.
For sure. But yeah, that's what we've been doing. I've been hanging lights outside. I've been fucking doing all kinds of stuff, getting ready for the party. Our back porch looks badass. It looks very, very Grateful Dead-ish because I bought some Grateful Dead bears that I hung around my black cross with my skulls.
Yo, you know, Nicco, the night that we went to the Cubs game, it was if I had bought the tickets through a different website,
we would have got those bobbleheads, right?
They had Grateful Dead bobblehead Cubby bears. And
nice.
but I didn't I bought the tickets straight from the Cubs website, so it is what it is.
For sure. But yeah, we've been building, and aside from the typical crap that I do all the time, we've been getting ready for the party. And so that's I mean, we've got probably, I think, thanks for the rum for sure, but we've also got, I think, 5/5 of different alcohols. I bought some tequila. Yeah,
look at Marcus not reducing fractions. 5/5. That man said 5/5.
Right.
I know what you mean. It's
It's fifths alcohol.
It's not one whole. It's 5/5. Five different fifths of different types.
Yeah, I just finished up and
it was just funny. I'm a fractions nerd, so
it's all good. But yeah, we added a tequila this past weekend to the bar, so we now have tequila on the bar. There's a full O that I'm bringing, so that adds to that, and others will bring
blitzed.
Right. The plan is to be entirely and totally destroyed so that God can talk to us.
Okay. All right.
All right. I just hope that if you, I don't know, man, like getting totally destroyed, is that the way for God to talk to you or something else?
Spirits.
Be careful.
On good days, yes, that is
be careful.
On good day, that is exactly how you do it. Because you got to remember, this dude comes with a bottle of rum, so
and cigars.
Yeah, right. So.
Well, I shouldn't talk much because I'm 0 for 1 drinking so far this show. I just spilled water right down my shirt.
You got a hole in the bottom of your lip?
No, I just didn't put my mouth all the way on the cup, and it just fell between my lip and the cup. So,
okay, I got to know, what's a kippa?
I'm kind of an idiot. I think he's talking about. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but is he talking about the tiny hat? I don't know. I'm not a. But no, I did not convert my Koofy into that. Whatever. Anyway, I still have my tinfoil Koofy right here. Wait.
Nice.
Oh shit, where did he go? Oh yeah, there it is. All right, I got it. Yeah. It was
what we
between
need
two hats.
We need tinfoil hijabs over the lake.
I don't know, man. I'm not getting involved in that all that stuff. Like it, that's some other stuff. I'm just anyway. We said we weren't going to talk about that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do? Oh wait, I think is Dutch ready? Dutch ready to come up?
Dutch
is ready. Let's bring him up. Let's go. But Dutch is on the stage. Well,
Chad, you'll do this from now on.
Listen, if I start talking about it, that means I'm doing it.
Okay,
it's all good.
All right,
Dutch. Marcus is trying to keep you off the stage.
But then I wanted to be the reason he was brought up.
Oh, is that what it was?
For sure.
You're trying to take credit for it. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. All right, Marcus. I tried to take you off the stage. So anyway, what's been going on, Dutch? What's going on with you?
Dutch.
Can you hear us?
What's been going on with Dutch is he had ear surgery. Muted. He can't hear.
I think he's trying to see if we can read lips. No.
Can you hear me now?
He's got like his. Hey, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the word with you?
All right.
What's
There's
up, man?
a little bit of delay. What's good, Nicco?
Dutch is over there doing a Verizon commercial.
What's good, Chad?
Can you hear me now? Good.
Can you hear me now?
That was Nextel, wasn't it? With
I had the day off, but not really. Day off means you got to take care of the kids,
Right.
I feel
that. So today I was with my boy. He's almost almost a year. I was chilling with him. Then I went to pick up my daughter from school, and then I cooked some food, and then I went to visit a colleague. It's something I don't do often, but mainly because of these cards yesterday. So I saw him at work and I asked him, where do you live? And he told me. So it was more like he told me the address. So I'm like, all right. So when do you want me to come? He's like, I'm off tomorrow. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me do it. Because usually, I've been saying that it's in one of my videos that I made is that it's hard to socialize here, and it's different than in the US. People are more taken back. Like it takes longer. Once the relationship is established, then it's a long time, but it takes a longer time to get into the inner circle. I noticed.
Why is that? Why y'all?
But today was because I've been listening to you guys, and you got to actively. I don't know if it has to do with, I don't want to shorten it, but it probably has to. If when you get to the gut of it, it has to do with the war, the World War. Mm-hmm. Like that's after asking why, because what I noticed that because I also lived in the Caribbean, is that we also have those small social circles, and I thought that it was a Caribbean thing until I came here and I saw that it's here, and this is probably where we got it from, our masters. So I think it's because when you get when you go through war, you have to have your small circles of trust. I guess the U.S. hasn't experienced it in that way since the Civil War, where you have different social circles. But I don't want to get. That's a deep question, Nicco. I don't want to get too much into that.
My bad.
But
I just want to say shout out to Dutch for sporting the Men of Order shirt for his appearance.
So yeah.
That's right.
Shout out to Men of Order / Master Focus.
Yeah, there you go. There's definitely a delay because Dutch is, but it's all right. We are name another show where your hosts routinely invite someone from across the globe,
right,
to get on and we got somebody from the Netherlands, straight up from the Netherlands on the show with us. And yes, like he was saying, shout out to Master Focus and Men of Order. Get your mind right, get your brain pills. Yeah, let's go.
I've been using it. I got a bottle from what's his name? AG.
Yeah.
He gave me a bottle at Hotep Con. And at first I was looking at the bottle. I didn't use it at first. I waited for 2 weeks. I kept looking at it. I was like, how am I going to use this? How am I going to try to see if it really works? So I started taking it for 2 weeks straight. The first week I didn't feel anything. And the second week I was like, my words are not gonna do it any good. My actions can do it, because my girl also noticed it, as I've been like on my shit, like on a micro level, like, because how my mind works is around me has to be fixed first. So I'm starting to fix my house. Like, I'm starting to notice like little things, and I'm like, what the fuck? You like months, and I fix things that I haven't fixed for months, and I do it within minutes. And then I stopped taking it after 2 weeks, and the effects started waning out, and I started feeling fuzzy. I started feeling my age again. Let me say that.
Mm-hmm.
And now, a week ago, I started taking it again, and 3 days later, I'm like, okay, I'm on that level again. So, it's definitely been tested by a skeptic, and I think that's why I'm wearing the shirt today.
You got the limitless pills on you, son.
I'm a skeptic like a motherfucker.
For sure.
That's cool that you did the on off on, like, it was, so you had like an off
Yeah.
You built your baseline first, then you did an on trial, then you did an off trial, and then I guess you're back, so you went back to it after that.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I mean, that's in the industry that I work in.
Yeah.
That's like that's the only way we can sell the stuff that we sell, is we have to like go in to the plant of our customers and prove, like, okay, here's what your process is like with this stuff. Here's what it's like without it. And we have to do it all. It's all very data driven. And my son actually, he got a 3-point bump on the ACT from taking it. So it was a pretty big deal.
Good.
Yeah, because that means like scholarship money.
Yes,
so let's go. Let's go.
Keep doping you up. Here you go, boy.
It's all natural stuff though. Like, it's all like it's dope the way that dope used to be before the pharmaceutical industry got into it and started like synthesizing and making everything all commercialized.
I look at the ingredients; they're pretty interesting. It's from all over the world. The ingredients. Like, I saw things from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, from.
You got to get it from the motherland.
Right. Oh, Jesus.
So if I may, since I was just talking about the industry that I'm in, I won't go into that industry because I don't want to start like making it easy to triangulate where this stuff ends up and everything. But like, one of my long customers, this is a place that my dad has been going to this place since I was probably like, I don't know, 8 or 10 years old, maybe even younger. I don't know. It's been a long time. Like, I remember going, he would drop me off at my grandparents' house because they lived in that area. And it's like, it's 3 hours away from my house. So it was like, I had to pack suitcases and everything. And he'd go and he'd bring me, drop me off, go to work. And then he would go home and I would stay out there. And then he would come back the next week and do his thing and then take me home with him the second week. So I got to stay like a whole week and a half or whatever with my grandparents and my aunt. So my aunts and uncles, my mom is the oldest of 11. So I have aunts and uncles that are like cousins to me because they're all within like 10 years of me age wise. And then I have cousins who they're like young enough to be my nieces and nephews because they're these aunts and uncles, it's their offspring. And so I'm like, I was in college when they were born, that kind of shit. Wow. But anyway, this one particular plant that we've been going to for decades, I just found out Wednesday that they're permanently shutting it down. And it's pretty devastating. Like, it's a big deal for me from my job standpoint, but there's like 1,000 people who are going to lose their jobs. And it's, I don't know, it's just rough. And so like, just kind of tapping into that, like the humanity of this. And I'm going to go out and see those guys, and it's going to be a whole different vibe from when I was out there last Monday.
Mm-hmm.
I was out there Monday and it was all like, hey, we're doing this next. And like, what does the outlook look like for the rest of the year and blah, blah, blah. And at no point are you thinking like within 2 days, you're going to get told that this place has been open since the 50s or however long it's been open for a long time, that it's just going to be like belly up. So it's just crazy.
Sad.
And that just, so that's why I was like, we're talking about what are we going to talk about? And, naturally everybody else wants to talk about all the shit that is going on in the news, and,
it's not going to change,
but it's yeah. Well, and it gets, not to downplay what's going on and the loss of life and all that stuff, but like at a certain point from how much can we talk about this stuff ad nauseum, it gets tired. It's just difficult to keep going with that stuff when that we got our own stuff that we got to deal with. And I have like people who I know who I need to go and, comfort and just kind of, I don't know, share
do the important shit.
It's going to be like going to a wake in a way. We're going to be going and we're going to be, waking this body of this facility, and everybody's going to be talking about their memories from, was still alive and running. And it's just crazy. So I guess for me, the lesson there was like, don't ever take anything for granted and make the most of every day, because I had no idea that from Monday to Wednesday, I was going to be like finding out that by January, I won't be going there anymore. It's not going to exist anymore. So,
wow. Now, is this going to hit your bottom line, right?
Yeah, I mean,
beyond
it's going to have an
condition.
impact on me personally, but not anywhere close to what. I mean, this was one of several customers of mine, but it's a huge impact on people who I care about. That's the thing for me,
For sure. Yeah, I understand all that, but I don't know those people. I know you. So for me, I'm like, is Chad gonna be all right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be all right.
Okay, good.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm on a different kind of time with that stuff where like I mean, it's gonna hit, and it's gonna, force me to make some adjustments to things, but I don't know, kind of like what Nicco was talking about. Sometimes you get handed some tests to, not necessarily to like test you to see if what you're made of, but it's like you get offered these opportunities to make sure that your focus is in the right place and to do the right things. So I look at it more like that it's an opportunity for me to not be selfish and not be, caught up in how this affects me, but to actually be a good person to other people and try to help them. And
nice.
And then I'll deal with the other stuff as it comes, as I need to. So
for sure. Man, I feel for those people, but the thing is, I've been, down with some of these kinds of issues before. I mean, I worked at a job that got, that was, for the most part, just eliminated and let go, multiple times. So yeah, I get that it sucks. The good news is that I really I hate to make any predictions, but I have a hard time believing that this is going to be a 2-year downplay. There's bound to be, it's going to go really shitty.
No, I'll say this much: the industry that I work in, especially that part of it, is it does tend to be an indicator of. So I'll say this: like, the industry that I work in has some challenges because the international markets are outpacing because of they don't have similar, environmental restrictions and other different types of regulatory restrictions, those sorts of things. So it makes the international markets more competitive, and they have much more capacity. So it's making it to where they're driving the price that you can charge for this stuff down. So that makes it to where it's harder for some of these facilities to stay open because they don't get the super cheap labor. And
they're not paying people a nickel and
well,
nets outside of their place.
I mean, I was at one of these places in Brazil, and it was like they had people like mopping the sidewalks Like, what are you doing? You're mopping the sidewalk. Like, why are you mopping the sidewalk? Well, because I got to do something, and there's a billion of us that work here. Whereas, like, some of these places over here, it's like 500, maybe 700 people or something like that. They have like thousands of people. So that's one of the challenges. But yes, overall, from an economy standpoint, like, this is not a good sign. That if anything, like, I would have been more expecting something like this to happen a year and a half, 2 years ago, and then some of this stuff to start turning in the other direction, because we actually saw that back in like 06, 07, 08, leading up to that. And then it started to come back, and some of those places like reopened. I did have one that was like a casualty in 2020 where they like shut down because of the magic virus, and they were down for like 3 months supposedly. And when that 3-month time frame came up, they were just like, nah, we're not going to open back up. And they just shut down permanently with no, like, it was just like, it's like it died in its sleep, basically. No fanfare or anything. This was more of like a 2x4 to the face. It was like, no. And the other thing is too, it's like, bro, Christmas is in 2 months. You know what I mean? Like,
are they giving them severance at least?
Yeah, they are. But I'm just saying, go ahead.
I want to. Yeah, you're talking about like the mass job losses. I remember Jesus was just talking to, I think, Strong Dad about his job being recession proof, and his job is recession proof because he's using his hands. But at this, there's also a way that I think is recession proof is that because most people that have that one job, they're reliant on that one person, and everybody believes in a full-time job. It's best for you to have a full-time job because it's better for taxes and all of that stuff. But for example, I have tried this. I'm not saying it will work, but I'd rather have 2 part-time jobs because most of the time one is going to be totally different than the other. And in recession times, one of them goes down and the other one picks up. And I think people as in general have been, especially like with the unions and stuff, have been conditioned to just trust in one person. And just like I was talking to my colleague today, I was telling him, we can do some things because we have all of this experience. He's like, no, I'm just going to work for the man for like 18 more years till I get to my pension. I'm good. I gave up in life. That's what I heard him saying. I gave up in life, because I'm just going to trust this one person. So, when you were saying that, Chad, about, all these people lose their jobs, is, that's what I think.
Yeah. And I think you're right, Dutch, too. And it didn't used to be, most people don't realize that like Pioneer Days, and you can touch on this in like Little House on the Prairie and those kinds of shows that kind of showcase this. But most people, when they think of employment, they think this is what I do for my life. And that's actually kind of a new thing. Like back in the day, what people would do is they had saved up money, let's say over time, they've got enough money for a house. And so they go and they get a house out in the prairie and do whatever they're going to do. And then they raise crops and they produce their own food. They have their own land. So they don't have to pay for nothing there. And they have, and then they raise their own food and they just develop their own things. And then they might get a part-time job or maybe a seasonal job that they help somebody else out on the side. And our society has made it to where not only can you not really do that and live because you have to pay taxes and property taxes and all this crap that they're taking off of the top of it. So you can't just live on your land, live off your land and survive. You've got to be bringing money in from somewhere. And so they've done that artificially, and then they've made it to where women have to work as well. And because back in the day, women didn't almost ever work, they were in the home. So, and I think that all of this is intentional because, the more you get people just, hitting that clock, they wind up exactly like what you're talking about, Dutch. They're easier to control because they think that their entire being is whatever that job is. And unfortunately, history has shown us that most of the time, not always, but most of the time, those jobs don't actually give two shits about their employees. And so they make poor decisions, and then the next thing you know, you're out of a job completely and you're screwed. So I do think that a lot of that is by design.
And you also take into consideration that a lot of jobs are now more so career driven and career focused. Everybody is worried about a career. They're sent to college so that they can spend the 4 years doing pointless shit, getting drunk and going through life experiences so that they can go and prove that they can go somewhere consistently without, getting bogged down with the same kind of monotonous shit that they do every day. You got to think, not everybody is going to, people start off their first jobs being like a McDonald's or some shit, and they're not expecting to stay there because they're like, oh, well, my goal or my sights are on to like a career. Like, for example, people want to do like fucking civil engineering. Like, they're in college, but they're going through the classes, but they have that little part-time job. Oh, this is not something I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I want to go be a civil engineer for the rest of my life. Now, you take it back to the older days, everybody had a specific thing, but that specific thing wasn't career. It was their livelihood. It was how they maintained to live.
Yeah. Well, you learned a trade. You did apprenticeships and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway, go ahead. Continue, Nicco. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but like it's instead of it being construction, people are their livelihood is working at the bar, and it's like they're so focused on only doing that, or other careers, but those other careers weren't like the necessary A through Z. You had people who were farmers. You need people for farming. You need people for construction.
Mm-hmm.
You need people for being electricians, but now there's like other pointless jobs and more people in the workforce that it's made everything so convoluted that they're struggling on staying in this one ideology or staying on this one job to keep them sustained.
Yeah. Again, I really think that a lot of this is intentional because those kinds of people are easier to control. So, because you're if you start, like, for instance, use the bar example, very similarly, believe it or not, in a funeral home, I had to go get a 2-year degree to do something that literally I used zero of the things I learned. Yeah, none of that stuff that you learn in the classroom. I mean, why did I need a speech class, for God's sake? I was going to be
I mean, you need to learn how to
talk to dead people,
how to talk to how to talk to their families and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I get some of that stuff. What they're trying to do is
but presenting as a speech,
they're trying to build this cookie cutter person who they think fits the mold of what a mortician should be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
why did I need to be able to write a 25-page essay?
I don't know, man.
Right. So there's a bunch of shit that they do just to, make sure that it's hard. Some of it is, for instance, you were talking about regulations. The funeral industry is one of the most regulated industries in the country. And the reason is because they look at, and the only one I can think of that's probably more is the cannabis industry. But the reason that they do that is they look at this big building. A lot of times a funeral home will have a limo. They'll have a fancy car. They'll have, they of course have the hearse. And people look at that and they have a bunch of money. No, that's all overhead. He ain't parading around in the limo. They needed that for the job. So, so a lot of times people looked at that, and what they started doing was regulating it. So I think that, like, whether you're talking about a bar or you're talking about construction and people having to go to college for some of this stupid shit, all that stuff can be handled just in an apprenticeship. And that should have been the way most of this stuff was done. But instead, we're all bogged down by, student aid, and the government's getting money off of that too.
But I mean, yeah, and if you trace it back to, it's so funny because like there was this whole thing in the Bitcoin Mystery School chat about, the picking a side in the struggle over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well,
I picked no.
Right. Well, the thing is, like, people, when you're picking a side in any of those kinds of things, you're misidentifying what the sides are, and the sides are like good and evil,
right.
God and Satan, God and like demons who are like, and you run the risk of getting caught up by thinking like, oh no, this side seems more justified, so therefore, and it's like, and then you start explaining away atrocities and like cheering for more atrocities because turn it into a parking lot or whatever, that kind of stuff. And so you think about it, and it's the same energy, it's that same battle, that same warfare that's been going on since the beginning. That is like, okay, there's the stuff that promotes like a good, healthy family life and good, healthy people who grow up with the right structure around them so that they can not want to kill themselves and not want to hurt other people and not do other stuff. There's that. And then there's the stuff that derails you from that. And all of the stuff that derails you from that, when you say like, this is intentional, yes, it's intentional.
Yeah.
And it's not because of some corporate guy who it's his intention.
Agreed.
His intention is led by the intentions of some other stuff that's trying to destroy humanity. So when you recognize that there's the people who created, or the people, there's the entity that created humanity and wants it to be happy and fulfilled and in eternal bliss and happiness, and then there is the entity or entities that are jealous of humanity and hate humanity and want to see us destroyed.
For sure.
And when you start to see it that way, it's like, oh, okay, so then like me hating Bill Gates isn't the answer, because Bill Gates is also a victim of those same entities.
Agreed.
Yeah,
and I have to be careful that
corn supply, and I like corn.
okay, I know, but what I'm saying is like, it's you're pointing, because then what happens is, so this is what typically happens, right? Is oppression gets bad enough that people fight back, right? And then you have the French Revolution, where everybody feels justified by guillotining a bunch of elites because they think the elites are the demons, and the demons are rejoicing all the time, the whole time while this is happening. And so we have to be really, really careful.
Thou shalt not kill.
Yeah, we have to be really, really careful that we don't like become the thing that we're fighting against because we think we're justified because they deserve it, or like somebody's got to fight back, or whatever it is. It's what we have to do is we have to start to realize, okay, the stuff with the job and all the other things, like the long work weeks and the full-time versus part-time, and like diversifying your skills and growing your own food and doing all these things that are good. These are good things, like having a diverse skill set, being able to do a lot of things, being able to help a lot of people in a lot of different ways. These are good things. Being able to grow your own food and grow it in abundance to where, like Marcus, you can offer some to your neighbors and offer some to homeless people. These are good things. What can be a stumbling block to that is when we allow our obsession with material goods make it to where we don't even have to be forced to work a full-time job. We just really want to have that nice house and that nice car and that nice vacation, and we'll do whatever it takes to get there. This is how all this stuff ends up happening. Like the way that people get tempted into doing evil, heinous things is fame and fortune and like glory and vanity, like all the things that, like, look at the stuff that happens with Hollywood, the music industry, all the entertainment industries, all the things that are famous. The suicide rate is through the roof. The misery rate is through the roof.
I mean, look at Robin Williams, for God's sake.
Yes.
He killed himself, and man,
Yeah.
you know.
So it's I don't know. We have an opportunity every time we're offered, like, you know, something like what seems on its face like it's a big obstacle. You know, maybe it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I was too attached to whatever that was, and maybe this is an opportunity for me to redirect some of my energy and attention in its proper direction. And I mean, it's still, don't get me wrong, it still sucks for these people that, like, yeah, they had put all their eggs in that basket. And the worst part is I see some of it, especially when, like, they're like in 2008, the economic downturn, you had some of these companies that were like, the company was going out of business. This is one where it's like a big company and they're just like, yeah, we're just going to prune the bush of our company and we're going to cut off these branches. The rest of it's alive and well, you know. Well, just these people lose their jobs, not the whole company. We had some people where their entire company went belly up and they had their retirement in that company's stock. Yeah. So it's like, so that's one thing. If I will tell you all this, if you're working somewhere full time and they got like a 401k or something like that, do not have your 401k invested in your company's stock, because if your company goes tits up, you're out of a job and a retirement.
For sure. So I want to kind of deviate from that just a little bit, because
go ahead,
because
I don't want to talk about that anymore anyway.
Right. For sure. But this is, it's tied in, because our conversation last week actually got me inspired to do something. We were talking about trying to take action that we can actually benefit from as it relates to the fuckery that's going on overseas. And I got to thinking about that and what I could do. And because I'm about doing and making things happen, that's always been my kind of where I go from. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking, we feel alone an awful lot. We just do, because we, you know, all the time we, you know, I know right now it feels like everybody's either on the blue side or the blue and white side, or the red, black, and green and white side, or whatever it is, you know? And so I thought, well, what can I do that would possibly like fund itself eventually, but might be something that I can put into place. And I got to thinking, because I've been making a lot of stuff. I'm going to, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to look into seeing if I can make these. It's simple. Make these. See that? Give peace a chance.
Yeah.
As a sign, and put that sign, or get that sign made, because I looked at it online. Online, there is a way to get basically a yard sign made for 80 cents, but the shipping sucks. So I'm going to go look at my local supplier, because I have one here in town that makes those signs. And if I can get one of those for say $3-4 a piece at the maximum, I'm just going to buy a bunch and start walking around my neighborhood asking if anybody wants one. And what that does is I'm going to say, here you go. And when the person, and give it to them for free. And when the person says, okay, I got a buddy that wants one, send them my way. That's going to be what I'm going to tell them. And they're going to come to me, and they're going to say, I want to get one. And I'm going to say, well, I can give you one for X amount of dollars. But I'm trying to get these more. So why don't you go to the guy down the road and buy some? Instead of giving me the money, go get him to just skip the middleman, have him get it. And then you get more than one and get people to start buying those giving them to people.
Yeah.
because that is a spirit of giving instead of a trying to earn. I also thought that I may do something very similar with t-shirts and make a t-shirt. It's going to be similar to what I just showed, except for it's going to
start slapping
that's
them.
great.
You know,
What?
Slapping them stickers where I can start tagging and basically slapping them everywhere and stuff like that. You know,
stickers are cheap. I can do that.
I'd actually be very ignorant with it and like start putting it in people's lawns. And then if they get real mad at it, they look at it.
Nicco's gonna be like the InfoWars people. There's like InfoWars stickers all over, like everywhere. Like, have you seen them? Like where they just be like in some random place and
no, I've never
boom,
seen one.
there's an InfoWars sticker on a trash can, like in this random place. I'm like, man, y'all went ham.
That's
By the way.
what
Speaking of which, I put a freedom book in one of the little library boxes outside. It was like outside a convenience store. They just had. I was like, oh damn! I was like, let me go see. Oh, I do have one in my car, and so I went and put it in the library. So I didn't take a book out. I just put one in. So
it's funny. We put a bunch in the food bank that they have here in town. They're all gone. They got every single one. I gave them like 10.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I got to go check that next week to see if it's still there. Or if somebody actually took it. That would be great if somebody took it,
for sure.
But yeah, that's a really good idea, because it's kind of and it's funny because like the whole Sound of Freedom thing, that guy's in trouble now because like they're saying he like sexually harassed some of the people he was working with and everything. It's
of
like,
course.
man, you're the human trafficking guy, and you were. All right. Well,
or they paid somebody to say that he was.
I mean, it's pretty.
Then he's a dickhead.
When Glenn Beck is coming out and saying like, I'm like really, really upset because I believed this dude and I was his friend. You know, we're friends. I've known him for 10 years, and like this is very credible. Like that's the thing is though, what Glenn Beck did was he said, I'm gonna get this money first.
Right.
And then after the money ran out and the movie stopped making money, then it was like, you know what? I didn't want to believe this.
My heart.
It must be true now. Let me grift off of it now. It's kind of disappointing, but anyway. But that's. So I don't want to associate what Marcus is doing with that. I'm sorry for segueing that way, but what they did was they had like at the movie they had like a QR code where you could like buy tickets for other people, and then you like pay it forward. So like you go, do whatever. Somebody you could get a free ticket, but then it's kind of a racket the way they did it, because it was like get a free ticket, and then so like you go through this whole process of getting free ticket, and then like you get there and like half of the time that you're there, they're like guilting you into giving other people free tickets,
right?
And so it's like,
get that ticket for your neighbor.
It kind of becomes like the thing where you buy somebody's coffee in the coffee line or whatever, or you buy their McDonald's or whatever, and it's like the only person who was really generous was the first person,
right?
Because nobody bought their food. Everybody after that is just, they're like, well, shit, I was gonna buy something anyway, so I guess I'll get that guy's food now. Yeah, since somebody already paid for mine, you know what I mean? Like sure. And then the last guy who's like, nah, fuck that guy.
He looks around and is like,
there's nobody behind him. Okay. Yeah, he's just like, sweet, free food. Yeah, like that's the only thing. But having something like that where what you're telling him is, look, you could pay me to do this, or you could just go over there and you could buy like double or triple as much and
give them away.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep. And I thought I'd do that with t-shirts too, and just start passing shit out. And my idea is that I remember back in the day feeling lonely when I was a Ron Paul supporter, and I didn't see no other Ron Paul supporters around me, but I'd drive down the road a little bit and I'd see a Ron Paul sign, and it'd make me feel good because I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one that was supporting him. And so I think that that would be a good way to encourage people who believe in peace. It also gives me another excuse to reach out to my neighbors and try to find common ground with my neighbors and build community in that way. Because, the people I'm going to give them away to first are going to be the people that live around me. And so, because I'm going to walk and say, hey, you want one of these? And if they want it, then I'll give it to them. If they don't, I'll say, okay, cool. And then keep moving on. But I think it would be fun, not only as like a social experiment to see if I can get it started and then hopefully it will be able to eventually fund itself to where I've kind of put maybe $100-$200 into it, and people are starting to give me money to buy them so I can start just funding itself. So that's what I'm hoping happens. But either way, I really like the idea of making it visual, because they can't take that shit away from us. They can't censor that on YouTube because it's in your yard.
Nicco, why you look like you're about to start a ritual over there?
I know, easy. It got dark.
It's the fucking salt lamp.
Nicco, you scared me, bro.
I'll make it. Let me go so I don't think everybody's about to get summoned or some shit.
Right.
Nicco looks like he's in
Background is
Nico's gonna come back. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be talking about this.
It was like slowly getting darker.
Funny.
He started playing with his tarot cards. I'm like, what the fuck going on here?
Don't mess with that bullshit.
That's funny. But anyway, that's something that inspired me the last time we got together. I got to thinking, I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and it's the other thing is like just like when you can.
2-second delay.
This is what I've been trying to do: is when you can try to shift the conversation. When people try to get you into this, you know, wanting you to pick a side and wanting you to either be a warmonger or be like an angry activist or whatever, sure. Like I get it. It's fine. We're humans, like, to be frustrated and everything, but just try to, what I've been trying to do is just try to redirect people's energy and attention to like, look, man, like there's a whole lot of stuff about everything that's going on outside of our little sphere of influence that we know a lot less than what we do know.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time and energy debating whether this is right or this is wrong or any of that kind of stuff. But what I am going to do is I'm going to continue to pray and to listen for what God wants me to do. And then I'm going to like love my family and take care of my community around me. And if more people did that, we wouldn't have to worry about all this other stuff, because that stuff that's happening over there is because those people are not willing to just love their neighbor right next to them.
Right.
And if I'm willing to like pretend like I know enough about some innocent people or some other people who may not be innocent, you know what I mean? Like, and who's who, and trying to pick out which ones are which, and who's getting caught in the crossfire and everything. No, man, there's people, innocent people who have no reason to be harmed in any way, who are, you know, getting hurt and killed over there. And it's at some point you have to just be able to stop and just say like, look, this is a travesty. This whole thing is a tragedy and a shame, and I'm not going to add to it by trying to downplay one side or the other, or trying to justify one or the other or anything like that. I'm just going to pray that somehow the people who need to figure out what they're doing wrong and make a change in their lives will actually do that, because I can't make them change it, and you can't bomb them into doing what you want them to do. So like, what you just have to pray that they're going to get that they're going to finally have their ears open and their eyes opened to see what they're doing, and that it's not okay.
Okay. So even though we did say that we wanted to chill,
no, I'm sorry. I did it anyway.
No. I mean, it's bound to happen. It is a current world event that we should be ignoring, yet we cannot ignore due to the overpopulation of everything that has been like purported in our faces. At the end of the day, there's a lot of things that we are like privy to. There's a lot of things that we're privy to, but we don't know shit about it. Like, to be honest. And it's aggravating, but we cannot let it aggravate us that people who think they're in the know something. Unless you've got people sending you some straight up telegrams and things like that from the damn government bases. Everybody should just have like a pacifier in their mouth and worry about what they need to worry about next or what's around them per se. And since we have this beautiful thing called the internet, we feel like we can be in fucking Israel today via based off of all the posts, you know.
And you have to have an opinion, otherwise you don't care. Like your silence is violence, basically.
But where does you caring going to change the outcome of something? Where does your emotions here in America, somewhere in fucking Canada, somewhere else that is not anywhere near fucking Israel and all that.
Is that what my wife means when she tells me stop yelling at the TV because the referee can't hear me?
I think so. Yeah. I just love it because maybe if the referees could hear everybody on the TV screen, I think their heads would explode and sports wouldn't even be organized.
The thing is, at least what I have figured out is if you start trying to help your neighbors and do shit like for yourself, this is what I have found out. You don't have fucking time to do a bunch of other shit because I don't have any fucking time to do all the stupid shit that these globalist assholes are doing.
Time on their hands for something.
I barely had enough time to put the show together today,
right?
Because we didn't let Marcus know until like late last night, early this morning what we were gonna do, and so he's like, "Y'all, I can't do this right now. Like, I'll have to throw something together." I was like, "It's okay, I got it. I'll do it.
Right.
It's my fault anyway because I like tripped us up and slowed us down in the first place, but yeah, it's like just the stuff that I already am responsible for is hard enough. Right. I don't need to be trying to be responsible for like
to take care of.
Yeah, I can't be like worrying about which flag I got to put in my bio. Like, no, man,
right.
You know what? I just don't have them. I have the free
Chad,
button.
You don't have a flag in your bio. What the fuck is wrong with you?
The only thing I have in my bio is a thing that says free, and I changed my name a while back to Asymptotic Man because
Marcus, he just dropped a gem. We should have some clothing or like a headband or a bucket hat that has a flag that says free.
Well, see, I can't get into all these flaggots, man. Too many flaggots everywhere. I am not playing their boring game. Fucking
so I'm about to say something. You guys hear me?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man. And he froze.
No, it just takes 2 seconds for him to start
talking. Going about like what you're doing in your daily life is what I try to do is and what I'm trying to do in my daily life and what I'm trying to put together in my research is I'm a sort of an abstract thinker. So this whole thing about morality and justice and ethics and all of that, I simplify it in 3 things, which is your morality, your values, and your ideology. And what I want to make sure that people do is that when it comes to your ideology is what you believe in, it should never be above your morals. It's how you would treat somebody. So that's how I try to live my life. So when I notice that I don't have something in common with somebody as far as ideology, I try to go to or values, which is material and stuff like that. What we if we like the same food or we don't like the same food, we'll talk about that. But what I do respect above all is how we treat each other. I want people to make me laugh, so I'll try to make them laugh. So it's just the golden rule. So when it comes to ideology, I think it should be like private, religion and stuff like that should be private for the most part.
Sure.
And the bigger the group, the less ideology should be spoken in general.
Right.
The smaller the group, it's more comfortable to talk.
The more person can get.
But I try to apply that to my life. My family first and foremost. I try to teach.
No. Well, to piggyback off of what you have to say is that. Right. Remember when I was in construction, there's this old man named Victor. Not to put his business out there, but I wanted to fight this old man really bad because he's just doing unnecessary shit. And I heard more about his story, and it made me take a step back. And I realized one thing that made me give him the ounce of respect is the fact that he was a family man. And even though he doesn't do anything, all the things that I align with or agree with, since he's a family man, I can respect him to the degree of he takes care of what he needs to take care of. And he's here doing it so he can take care of them. So I took my step back and was like, how you doing, Victor? How you doing? And I'd go about my day. You know, I'd make a joke with him every once in a while, but like, I would steer clear of, you know, letting my personal ego and my viewpoint on certain things steer me away from realizing he's human as well. So I took a step forward and a step back at the same time, and had to play the notion of get out of your own head and step off of him and realize that not everything is always going to click, but one thing that you can do is click with a certain or specific value, and you resonate with that and leave it at that.
Well, the thing is, what both you, Nicco, what both you and Dutch were talking about. Now, what I was saying, Dutch, was that what you guys are talking about is unifying. You're talking about ways to come together, ways to find common ground, ways to find a common place, so that you don't get divided and move towards negative interactions. And that's exactly what we're moved against. People try it to get us to constantly divide. This is with the Israeli-Palestinian thing. That's just another example of them dividing and conquering us.
Ukraine and Russia, same thing.
Yeah. And so I 100% support what you said, Dutch, and what
Israel and Palestine.
Go ahead.
If Israel and Palestine both saw what they have in common, which is their morality, which is I want to live, you want to live, they wouldn't have a problem with each other. They'd just be like, here's 50-50, whatever. We just want to live. But now their ideologies have taken control.
Yeah.
And, you know,
even the most egotistical people still can find compromise somewhere in something.
For sure.
That's interesting, because I was thinking about this yesterday at church. So I've been going to this church for, I don't know, almost 2 years now, and like off and on early on, but then like recently, probably like the last 8 to 10 months, it's been like nonstop. And so where this place is set up, so it's, you know, it's an Orthodox church. They're very, if you don't know, like if you haven't noticed, like a lot of people don't even know the Orthodox Christian churches exist in America, but they do. And a lot of them
pretty. They're usually pretty too.
Well, yeah, I mean, not as much in America.
Well, I mean, because they have that screen that goes across the back and all of that. That's
like inside, yes, yeah. Inside, yeah. But all right, so like a lot of them are like in strip malls, because like that's just the way. And there's a lot of other kind of churches that are in strip malls that are a lot more questionable. They don't go back like as ancient as this. Like this is like they've been saying some of the same songs and saying some of the same prayers for literally like 2,000 years. And this, but they're in America because it's so small. Because, you know, when America was settled, it was, well, first of all, you had like a bunch of people who weren't exposed to Christianity living here. Then when the Christians that did come, it was like the Puritans is a very Protestant thread, and like you know, Calvinist, and you know, you had a bunch of different sects or whatever that came over, and then you had the folks who weren't Christian, but you know, like the deists and other folks like that. But you had a lot of people who were just trying to get away from what was the Church of England, right? So they come over here. Well, there wasn't a huge push of like Orthodox Christians over there, but there you have all the old, like in Antioch and Constantinople, and then it spread throughout that area and into like Russia, and that's where a lot of that stuff is. Well, over here, this church that I go to is like, it's in a strip mall. Well, it's actually not in a strip mall. It's like next to a strip mall kind of thing, but there's like a little there's like a hairdresser thing on one side on the back of the building and all this other kind of stuff. And so they just have like made a church inside this thing, and they built the, you know, the whole, a lot of what you would see inside an Orthodox church, where
that's stuff
it's very pretty, like a lot of you know, pretty icons and everything, and wood stuff that they built together. Well, they bought some land a few years ago with the intention of like building a church, actually building something from scratch that could actually look like it's supposed to look and do it right. And the land was not terribly expensive, but the construction costs were going to be okay enough that they had a plan. Well, then like the magic virus hit, the lockdowns hit, the supply chain disruptions, and all the inflation since then has made it to where now they're looking at it and they're like, okay, I think we're going to sell this land. And the thing that jumped out to me was, I'm standing in this room and I'm not in a position where I'm going to vote because I don't have a dog in the hunt. Like, it's not my money that went into building or buying the land or was going to be building the church or anything like that. Like, I'm just kind of, I'm along for the ride. I'm a tick on the dog at this point. And like at some point, maybe I'll have earned the right to vote in this thing. But as I'm watching this whole thing go down, because I've been in these kind of situations before, even in church type discussions, and it ends up being one of these like 70-30, you know, 55-45 kind of bickering back and forth, you know, power play kind of stuff and everything, where people get their own like wishes that they want done, and it's just, you know, some people have a vision and they're going to push for it and everything. And I remember just standing there and thinking, from what I've experienced in this place in the last 2 years, there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be unanimous and that there's not going to be any fighting, because whatever people end up going with, even the people who don't get their wishes, they have the way that the orientation is like, this is what we're supposed to do. Even if you don't get your way, it's like it's a very, very different spirit and approach. And so like to Dutch's point, when you're in a place where you're with a group of people where you share a vision, a belief system and everything, and then you don't have to, I don't know. It's like, it's almost like what we were talking about before. When you realize that you're supposed to be letting go of stuff and letting the creator of the universe pave the path in front of you, and whatever that path looks like, it may be not at all what you expected, but you just go with it. It completely changes how you approach conflict.
Agreed.
Conflict becomes different. You become the priest said a couple of weeks ago. He said, if you don't want enemies, don't be one. And that's where I think so much of this stuff is like, if we could just like start with, I'm going to trust for me, because of what I get up and pray for every morning and what I pray for before I go to sleep at night, every night. I know for me that if Marcus tells me, hey, Chad, you got to stop doing this. I'm going to, whatever, you know, I need you to stop doing it. I'm just going to be like, you know what? Like, as long as it's not something that he's telling me to do something sinful or anything like that, I'm just going to, even if I might think that my idea is better. If Marcus says, no, this is the idea we're going with, I'm just going to go with it, because I have, my orientation to this stuff is like, I'm not gonna push real hard for that sort of stuff, because I trust that somebody else is leading the way, and that I need to just like get with the program on that stuff. And it's a difficult thing to like wrap your head around. Like, I fight this all the time. But like, I don't know. That was just what I was thinking. Because when he was talking about how if they could just realize that they both want to just live, and then they would, if you had people who were like, no, I don't think we should sell the land, I think we should wait, and we should try to find a way to build the church on there. The church community decided that they're going to sell the land, and then they're going to look for something that they can lease that actually has a building already on it, so that they don't have to go through the construction costs and all that stuff. And so it was just like, as soon as they started talking about it, it was just like, well, yeah, duh. Like everybody was on the same page. Like it was not even like there was no fight, there was no bickering, there was no nothing. And I know it might just be like an anomaly that like maybe they fight about a bunch of other stuff, but I doubt it, because I've seen some other stuff where they've raised money for stuff and it happens and it gets taken care of, and it's something to like think of.
There's no such thing as war in nature.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, and the only reason nature generally, unless there's something wrong, doesn't attack itself for no reason. Like for instance, if a bear attacks you, it's because you fucked up. It ain't because the bear's done something dumb. It's because you fucked up. Maybe you're too close to their kids. Maybe you're too close to their home. Maybe you frightened them. Whatever it is, you fucked up. Yeah, you're right, Dutch. Nature does not have war. Nature has sprawl, and nature has things where like you might have an invasive species.
That's what it is. It's the ecosystem.
Yeah. It's maybe chimpanzees are the only ones that I can think of where there's like actually like territorial, but then chimpanzees are so close to us.
You go to ants, but the thing is like it's not necessarily war. Say, for example, in the human body, you develop cancer and there's too many white blood cells that are, multiplying, but your body is doing its best to get rid of said disease, but it doesn't. It just forms into tumors or certain things like that. It is the eradication, it sounds like a war term. It's basically clearing up and clearing out what is necessary or what is needed. If, for example, there's too much pressure in the volcano, guess what? It's going to erupt. That volcano needs to erupt. It won't shoot back out into the earth. It needs to go out. It needs to be released. So there's like, you go to ants, for example. Ants are territorial, and the ants are like, okay, well, this is my side of the hill, and you come over here. Other ants will try and come over here, and they'll be like, hold your step, hold your halt. It's not necessarily war, because it's like something that I want to take
battles or disputes.
You have disputes and battles, right? But war is more so of the human thing. The ego.
It's about the reason that they're battling. In nature, often it's because, for instance, you were talking about that, like chimpanzees have their little area or whatever,
territorial disputes,
right. And the reason for that is because they know that there's only, say, 10 chimpanzees can live in this particular area for healthily, and so they have it for the reason that they have that limit. And that they enforce that limit for themselves is because they know that they're the only ones that can hunt that area. Humans start wars for resources that they don't need.
They also start wars or continue wars or whatever it is over like beef, over like some shit that's like,
right.
Like somebody did something that offended you, and so then you gotta like I think we're probably the only species that would actually physically assault someone because of something that they said.
Right.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you
an animal will do something like that because it's like I think you're a threat to my young. You might try to hurt them, kill them, whatever. You might try to steal my food. You might try to destroy my shelter or whatever. That's one thing. But like this is like somebody could say something to you.
That's all ideology.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, we probably ought to start drawing down because we have been going for an hour and 15 minutes now. But I agree. I think that what we need to do as people is to do more of this, more talking and figuring out ideas and thinking about the things that we're doing, than dealing with this political nonsense that has nothing more to do than with power and money. That's what they're going after, is power and money. And don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against money. I need money too. But it matters when that is the reason that you're going for it, for whatever your goal is power and money. If your reason is because you need more food or whatever it is, trying to survive, that's a different situation than seeking out power and money. And so I think we should keep that in mind as we look at some of these conflicts, some of the issues that we see. Are the people trying to better their lives, or are they just going after grift? And if they're just going after grift, that should tell you something. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. Sometimes people are after grift and they actually are trying to do good things too. So I'm
Speaking of people who are after grift and also doing good things. What's up, Tay? Hotep. This is the man himself who, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to say he didn't create the grifties. But anyway, shout out to my man Taylor.
So do you guys have anything else you want to talk about real quick before we close down?
Yeah, one thing real quick. And this is for the people who will probably never watch our shows, but this is an announcement to them. Keep your head on your own bag, your own morals, your own family, and your own things, and stop worrying and feeling the right and the need to protrude into somebody else's lifestyle, ideology, or anything along the lines of that. Because, I mean, it's very simple. Even though we grow up in different neighborhoods or necks of the wood, we all have the same basic moral consciousness and values, where it's not even necessarily the 10 commandments. It's 3. Thou shalt not kill, steal, do harm, and treat one like another. And, just show respect when given. Not every time respect is, given, but show respect when it's a necessity. You don't have to go out your way and feel like you need to be disrespectful because somebody disagrees or anything along the lines of that. Just show up for yourself and your people, and shit won't go astray.
I'm just laughing because Nicco said there was 3, and then he named like 8 things.
What Nicco just said, I have nothing
no, but it does go down to, like, if you go back though to, like, when they asked Jesus, like, they tried to trap him on, like, what's the greatest commandment? He's like, love your God above all things with all your heart, mind, and all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Because you can't say you love God if you hate your neighbor.
Right.
And that's, that kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, where it's like, all those things that Nicco just named fall into that category, where it's like you can't say, like, I love God and that's why we need to bomb those people.
Right.
Like, what?
God would want to make us bomb them. Why wouldn't we want to bomb them?
Okay. All right. Well, my computer down here is about to die. So, but let me plug it in before we hit the deuces. Because damn, where'd the plug go? I'm sorry, y'all. This is live TV. This is how it happens. I just got to deal with it. I barely got in here on time to start this show. So, like, this is what happens. All right, I'm plugged in and it didn't die. So Dutch, you said you don't have anything to add. Is that what I heard?
Yeah. No, just what Nicco said, and I'm gonna be diving. I've been diving deep into this these things. So if you wanna get into that, just follow me on my channel somewhere.
Yes, indeed. There you go.
Yeah. So give a plug. What's your channel, man?
Hotep Dutch, YouTube, and Rumble. But I'm mostly doing stuff on YouTube. I drop a live when I have time with these kids. Anytime I get some time, I'm on there. But it's rough these days.
Right on, brother. Chad, you got anything left?
Kids are great, but they I don't know. I'm looking for the place on my body where they plug in and drain all my energy and intelligence, because they keep getting smarter. I keep getting dumber. They keep, like, running circles around me, and I keep getting slower and more decrepit. I have to go to the gym just to be able to keep up with him half-ass. Like my 14-year-old beat me in a race the other day. Like,
that's not fun.
We just ran like 40 yards or whatever. And I say he beat me. I say he beat me because like I beat him by like a step. And that to me is like I lost because I thought I was going to dust him. And but I mean,
I gave up trying to be faster than my kids years ago.
They worked their butts off, man. They're out like they had practice this morning at 5:15, and they're out the door and they're grinding. And anyway, so yeah, but no, like Dutch is right. Like diversify and take care of your family. Like just getting caught up in this career rat race can be a big trap. So don't fall for the traps. That's the biggest thing. Is like don't fall for the traps. Keep your eyes on the right prize. So
oh, show. And don't forget
go check out my TikTok. I'm just uploading videos. Go ahead.
Oh damn, Deco's got TikTok now.
Check out Nicco's TikTok.
All right.
And stay free.
Peace, y'all.
Difficulties.